Cowboys. How about them Cowboys today? They dominated them 44-30 as the Detroit Lions completely outsourced the Cowboys and got after Dak Prescott, forced them to not one, but two turnovers. Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery combined for 15 touchdowns in the duo running back tandem, passed only the great Emmitt Smith and I forget the other running back. They passed them. That's tied for the most touchdown between both of them and running back duo history right now. So shout out to both of them. And the Lions absolutely decimated and dominated the Cowboys on every given front. The Cowboys try to make a run later on in the fourth quarter. They outscored the Lions in the third, but in the fourth quarter, the Lions pretty much packed down. So it's 408 yards for the Lions total. They were only 3 for 8 on third down. The Cowboys were 6 of 15 on third down, so they weren't as efficient. A little bit better, but not as efficient. They had 417 total yards, but the Lions just completely dominated throughout all 4 quarters. You can tell throughout the entirety of that game, they just had the finger on the pulse. They just had the game on the pulse, and they had it on lock. And they were just not gonna let it live it up. Not gonna give that lead up at any given point in time. So that just shows you to me that the Lions are, like I said in my title, are hopes to make a playoff push when it's all said and done. Because moving forward, they're not gonna win the NFC North. I think that's pretty much going to be up for grabs between the Chicago Bears and the Green Bay Packers, because they both play each other twice, and the Lions play the Bears at the last point of the season. I think the NFC North division will pretty much already be decided way before that game even takes place. But as far as the Lions concerned, offensively, they had to get back to their point of contention. They need to feature Jameson Williams, J-Mo, in the offense more. He had 7 receptions for 96 yards. And Amon-Ra Brown is as tough as nails. It's pretty much like a wall stick of glue. Like, he is just going to continue to play and give it all he can and give it all he's got. Because, like I said, the hosts of the playoff push, they're 8-5. They got to get at least 11 wins. 10 or 11 wins will get you in the playoffs. You got to win out. You cannot afford to lose any more ball games at this point. And although they got the Rams coming up next, they'll celebrate and they'll reflect off of this. But man, what a great win to really put the league back on notice with you guys. Put the league back on notice with them, and kind of just make them aware, like, hey, if we can play like this, can be consistent with the running back duo of Gibbs and Montgomery, using Gibbs as a wide receiver out the backfield, and he was able to get 4 catches for 48 yards. To go along with that, a good route run by Isaac Tesla and throw by Jared Goff. So that pretty much put the Cowboys' hopes and fates of winning this game already on notice. They got after Dak Prescott to have 5 sacks. They forced a couple of interceptions. The Lions forced a couple of interceptions, a couple of turnovers. That was a great look for them. I like the way that they can continue to ratchet up and tune up the offense at any given point. And most people got to realize this. The Lions are absolutely not only decimated with injuries. Sam Laporta's been out for a while. His injury has been pretty noticeable, and that was pretty much one of his more safety blankets, one of Jared Goff's more safety blankets and targets. Other than what St. Brown's giving them. Then of course the injuries to the secondary. Terrion Arnold, you heard, is out and placed on IR. Is placed on IR, injured reserve, with a right knee injury. So he's pretty much gone. Then, of course, Kirby Joseph. You saw the impact of him when he came back. They're much better with him and Brian Branch tandem in a lineup than one of them being an all solo dolo, one by themselves. when they both combined and total and they both back in the game, they as together, they're one of the two of the best safety duo combination in the league. It's not a lot of safety duo tandems that are better than them right now. If they're what they're playing and when they're on their feet. And Dan Campbell called a great game as pretty much taking over as the signal play caller. He took over the signal and play calls before back in 2021 when he first got the coaching job, and it changed the season. It changed our season around more or less. It changed our season around, and it made us even more invincible, made us even more relevant. So I like that about what we're doing. And another thing, I really think we need to really open up the offense, um, as far as more often to keep Jameer Gibbs and Montgomery both out of the backfield and do a lot more like wheel routes, do a lot of RPOs, run pass options. So Jared Goff wouldn't have to be so much worried about just standing in the pocket, moving forward. And then especially when you're playing against the Rams, LA Rams team next week, that man, their defense is very vicious and vaunted with Brian Young and Jared Verse, two of the better young defensive edge rushers in the game. So that's gonna be tough to handle. That's gonna be really tough to handle. Kobe Durant, Darius Williams, Quentin Lake. That secondary for the Rams is tough and vicious. And then you got, of course, Nate Landman, the basically the Mike linebacker, and Omar Space the outside, or like I guess you can call him more of like the will linebacker. And yeah, that's gonna be a tough outing to deal with them, man. I cannot wait to see what's gonna be taking place with them next. Boy, that I mean, it's already just it's already I'm already looking ahead to the preview of that game. Moving forward, that's gonna be something crazy. But the Lions that can build off of this win. One of the main true things that you can build off of this win is confidence. Confidence in yourself and confidence that you have a shot of not only making the playoffs, getting some help, and really forcing the action, forcing the hand. Because if you force the hand in the playoffs, force the hand in this wild card race, those last three seeds, you don't know how the Seahawks gonna be playing because they got a lot of tough divisional games coming up and outside conference games coming up. Then you got the 49ers who got some games coming up that could possibly lose out. You're gonna need some help if you're the Lions to try to make it into the playoffs. And also, you're going to need some help in the division since the Bears and Packers both play each other. You're going to obviously need the Bears to lose out in order for you to have a shot and win the last game of the season against them at Soldier Field. But that's going to be pretty much on outside turf where Jared Goff pretty much struggles in cold weather. He's not that good playing in that environment. So it's going to be tough. So tell me what you guys think about this game, man. Tell me what you guys think about the Lions and the Cowboys. And I didn't mention Aiden Hutchinson also had a couple of sacks. Al-Qadir Muhammad, he ended up having 3 sacks in this game. He was just absolutely on point throughout the entirety. Like he just really got after it. And they did a lot of pressures. They forced Dak Prescott to throw out of the pocket off of his back foot a few times. He was not able to be comfortable, able to sit in the pocket at all. Give a lot of credit to Kelvin Shepard for calling a really good defensive game plan. Jack Campbell is him. He is that guy. He's definitely an all-pro. He made some really good tackles. Once again, he was really slowing the middle of the field down, whether it be George Pickens or CeeDee Lamb, and even Jake Ferguson trying to get into the middle of the field. Like he was just making tackles and slowing their momentum and their pace down. That's really, really appreciated for me. Hey, what's going on? But yeah, that's just how I see it with them, man. Really good win by the Lions. Like I said, it builds confidence. It builds trust in your team again, once again, if they didn't already had it. And also it builds something moving forward, to give us to have a shot in the playoffs. And but let's talk about the elephant in the room. How about them Dallas Cowboys? Holy cow. Everybody was telling me about this juggernaut offense. Defense could be improved. I'm recapping the Lions and the Cowboys, a Superstar 22. The NFL. I'm talking about the NFL. But yeah, but let's talk about the elephant in the room. How about the Dallas Cowboys, man? People was telling me about, oh, the Cowboys offense is a complete juggernaut. They was telling me about this Cowboys offense being a complete juggernaut. Oh, Dak Prescott, man, he was in MVP conversations. CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens, the best wide receiver combination duo. They was telling me all these things, right? And without a shadow of a doubt, and without a shadow of a doubt, um, they they had to keep up with the Lions scoring because, man, they just got completely neutralized, man, and they just kind of just showed you they're not built for this kind of playoff environment. They're not built for this kind of playoff. They're not built for that kind of environment to make it to the postseason. And they better hope for a lot of teams to lose out. And if they don't lose out, and if these teams don't lose out, including in their own division with the Philadelphia Eagles, if they don't do that, then yeah, their hopes of making the playoffs is just very slim pickings and slim to none. And people was telling me, oh, the additions of Kenny Clark and Quentin Williams and then Logan Wilson was going to help the defense out. Well, I couldn't hardly tell because last night, man, they was getting blown all over, man, blown all over it. And Dak Prescott, you know, he's a really good regular season quarterback, just like a lot of these 10-year, 12-year veteran quarterbacks, but they don't have what they don't have is intangibles and the instinct, knowing that when your hopes is on the line of making the postseason and doing something in the postseason, they don't really get the job done. They don't really push the avenue and push the envelope. And you kind of just see that with them. Although their total yards, they had a lot, and then again they were 6 to 15 on third down. It's not that great and not that efficient, but at the same time, they have a whole lot of issues, on the defensive side because as you can tell, they could not stop Jahmyr Gibbs or David Montgomery. And in these past couple of weeks, they beat two of the form of the Super Bowl opponents last year with the Eagles and the Kansas City Chiefs. But you got to realize that, especially the Eagles, they have not been running the ball all season long. They are pretty much a shell of themselves, and the offensive line's been beat up and banged up. And Kansas City don't run the ball half the time at all. So the Cowboys pretty much got off a little bit scot free and became the scapegoat with their offense. And so that was the main thing that caused which is why they became back into the conversation because they were facing opponents that don't really run the ball that well whatsoever. So their run defense was pretty much masking in between their guard. But when they faced up against real teams that can actually run the football and that can be dynamic and explosive, it makes it more worthwhile. So that's just those are the things of what I kind of just what I just saw. So, and those are the things I just kind of just saw within and of itself about what happened. So, uh, yeah. All right, guys, I'm gonna be getting up out of here. I gotta go do some things, take care of some business. So, I want to thank you guys for liking the stream and also commenting. I appreciate that. All right, I'm out. Peace.